I'm back again. I know you're excited to see my face. I'm excited to see my own face. All right, I just have about, okay, it works. I have about 20 minutes to spend with everybody here. I know Lemuel talked about setting goals and all of those interesting stuff, right? And I believe that she has challenged almost everyone here. So, I just really want to talk about goal setting quickly, right? One of the greatest skills to have is the ability to start and finish. It's very, very underrated in this climb, the ability to actually start something and finish it. You know, for example, you go on maybe your Bible app or you go on Udemy, all of those places that you have an account in. You notice that you started a particular free training and you stopped. You know, when you start something new, the first day you're excited, the second day you're excited, the third day, how far now? You know, you just stop. And it's very, very underrated. The thing is a conversation between nurture and nature. And what do I mean by nurture and nature? There are people that are born with specific gifts. It's good. And there are people that are not born with any specific gift, right? They put in what you call discipline, right? And build specific skill sets that they can earn from. I have talked and facilitated around for teams around productivity, goal setting, and all of these things. At the end of the day, I was seeing that the people I was speaking to were not really changing. You know, like, we talk, you know, and you speak to the company CEO, and they'll come back and tell you that nothing is really happening. And I figured out that the most important tool you need for productivity and to achieve your goals is not Asana, it's not Trello, it's not any of those creative apps. It's discipline. Discipline that you write something down, you break it down into bits and pieces, and you go for it. All right. So the first thing I want to ask, interesting icebreaker, what is your morning routine? What does it look like when you wake up in the morning? What do you do when you wake up in the morning? What time? So starts. I would like somebody to share. Starts from when you wake up. Do you get what time do you wake up? From the time you wake up till you sit at your office desk or till you get to your workplace. Does anybody want to share their experience? Morning routine is very important now. Okay, Mercy, give it a shot.
So my morning routine, sometimes it's not consistent, but I wake up at 5 a.m. and then I use the toilet for like 20 minutes and then get ready, dressed up for work. I open up my phone and then I check for messages. I open up my Bible app, I read the memory verse it's on that app, and then I go to the road, take a bus, get to the office. I open up my system, and then I check my mails. I see if I missed any mails that I need to respond to. And then I check, okay, what tasks am I assigned that week or that day? And then I start doing that morning, and the day progresses.
Thank you for sharing. Do you just want to try, Mercy? Okay, give it a shot.
Okay, so for me, because my office is not so far from from my house, I wake up. I don't wake up by 5. I wake up later than 5. But so the days I want to. Okay, so I started a new routine to cook my food to work, as opposed to not eating the whole day or freestyling, basically. Then trying to eat well and eat healthy as well. So when I wake up in the morning, if it's a day that I'm making something that is going to take a lot more time, I wake up 6:20, 6:30 thereabout, and I'm still able to. And I don't like to go to work late. I hate to go anywhere late. So I try to be at work earlier than that. So when I wake up in the morning, I try to stretch. Sometimes I might wake up in the morning and just be in the bed for like a while, maybe gist with the Holy Spirit, maybe if I had a very funny dream or something, I'll gist with him or talk to him and then pray. Then afterwards, I try to stretch. So for my stretching, I put on my playlist and then I go to the kitchen to cook. get ready for work, go to work, and then try to see what I can get done, basically. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, everyone. So, one of the interesting things I do is to ask people about their morning routines. I feel like from your morning routine, from what you do in the morning or what you do in the morning can decide or define how your day is, right? That's really good. Thank you for sharing. I'm not going to do any analysis. I just want to know, right? Okay. All right, let's move on. We're going to look at productivity, time management, and goal setting. I have some tools and resources that we can check on later so that we don't spend much time. Yeah, this is me, that guy that is speaking. I'm the one. You can read it quickly, and I'll move off. Strategy, communications, operations. I want the push consulting. My background, education, marketing and communications, public relations. Yeah, I want some sort of social enterprises, about 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting that I will share this quickly, right? Understanding productivity. And I'll start with my story, right? So, I studied education in school. And while I was a student, I had a business. I had a good blog. I started a student newspaper. I was leading in church. I organized events. I was a faculty ESCO. I also was an all ESCO, even if I was not inside the school. But I was also an all ESCO, right? Do you get? I remember that my first partnership meeting was with these guys. What do you call them? I think they are Palm Pay now. Before, when they just kick-started, that was like my first partnership meeting. I started with these Chinese guys talking about partnership. I didn't even know what I was saying. The only thing I knew that these guys were the guys that were selling Techno and Infinix, and they were using iPhone. That's the only thing that came to my head, right? But what I'm trying to say is that, at a very young age, I understood that you had the capacity to do whatever you wanted to do if you set your mind to do it, right? And that's why we're talking about productivity. So what is productivity? Quickly. Productivity is the measure of how efficiently one can accomplish goals and tasks. That is it. How well can you accomplish the goals that you have set for yourself and the tasks you have set for yourself? Now, remember I told you that when I started in school, right, I had a student newspaper. I and my partner, his name is Philip. We didn't have money to print. We had some money to print, but we didn't have money to pay a designer. Do you get? Because let's say you have like 20,000 naira to print your newspaper. You can't also use that money to pay a designer. So what did we do? We sat down one day behind the computer, and for 1 week straight, we learned how to do graphic design. What did I do for 1 week straight? Every morning that I woke up, I sat down behind the computer. I learned graphic design throughout for 7 days. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. I learned graphic design throughout for 7 days. Why I'm saying this is productivity is the ability to just set your mind on a particular thing, and get it done. So, all right, I'll leave that for now, and we'll move on quickly. So, there's a particular stuff I checked from Harvard Business Review, and we looked at some principles to follow in your quest for self-improvement. And the angle at which we are talking about productivity today is how best can you improve yourself? I know that we talked about growing your career, getting a better deal in your career, moving to a better position, or starting something new. After we talk about all of these great things, right? The question is, how best can you actually achieve them? I know there are certain times where we feel like, oh, I want to do something, right? You talked about you want to be a data analyst, right? Do you get? How best can you become a data analyst? Do you have a plan for that? Do you have goals that you have set to achieve that? I'll give you an example. So one thing I've been trying to do for the past 3 years is, if I don't go back to school, I take a specific niche and I try to learn them. So every year, I pick a particular thing and I try to learn them. 2 years ago, I picked product management, right? And I sat down and I tried to learn it. One of your facilitators, Nifem, is around. He was my lecturer, just so you know. It's right, but that was my goal. In fact, one of the things I put down to learn stuff is, aside from doing all the online learning, right, I pay for the training, join the community, and I learned it. When I was done learning it, I got my first product management gig. I will call it gig because I'm an entrepreneur. I want a business. But because I want a consulting business, right, I could help my clients in terms of product management. Last year was a different goal totally. I decided to learn about venture capital, and I did the same thing. And currently, I'm working on 2 projects about setting up venture funds. Now, the interesting thing about setting up venture funds and all of those stuff is, if I never had any of those skills, I would not be able to identify those opportunities. So those opportunities will come through me, but I'll not be able to see them as opportunities because I don't know how to do them, right? This year, a different ballgame. I'm not going to tell you what I'm learning. But next year, I'll tell you what I learned this year, right? Why I'm saying this is, you have the capacity to do all that you have, all you want to do. Do you get? If you set the right plan. Many of the times, what we keep hearing is, I don't have time. I don't have time. Lagos is busy. I'm really moving and all of those stuff, right? I used to say that until I executed a particular strategy, which we are going to test here. Right? So, how to master a skill. Number 1, select a skill that is valued by your organization and manager. Divide the skill into smaller manageable tasks. Reflect on what you have learned and what you want to accomplish. Don't try to learn in a vacuum. Ask others for guidance and feedback. Don't just try to learn and assume that you know what is applicable, right? Rely solely on your boss for advice. You may want to involve someone who is responsible for evaluating you. This is in the workplace, but basically look for somebody that has done that thing before. Look for somebody that has been there before. Let the person lead you. And don't assume that it's going to happen overnight. There's this guy, Malcolm Gladwell, that talked about the 10,000 hour rule, that if you want to learn a new skill, you learn it in 10,000 hours. If you are doing 3.5 hours every day, you are basically doing about 5 years. Interestingly, 10,000 hours rule is the extreme, but data has proved that that's not even right, But what data is saying is that you can actually learn a new skill in 6 months. What are we trying to say? Where you are right now in life, if you decide to move into a new career and you dedicate and you discipline yourself with consistency within 6 months, right, you will learn that particular skill and you'll be able to scale into a new career. All right. Now, importance of productivity in your personal life helps you understand time management, turning your aspirations to achievement, business success, competitive edge. All right. I'm just going to skip through all of this because I want us to get somewhere. I'm going to share this link later where you can get some free resources to help you in terms of time management. There's a very good book you should read. It's called Eat Your Frog by Brian Tracy. If you are somebody that you have challenge with procrastination, when you set goals and you cannot achieve those particular goals, right, I would advise you to read that particular book. Eat Your Frog. You can scan this and you can get all of these resources, we'll share it to you, or you can just scan it. Choose one. All right. Now, what I want us to do, I should go back. Yes, they will send it to you. All right. What I want you to look at as of this particular moment is something called a time audit. Time audit. So, there's this old term that we hear every time that people keep saying, I'm very busy. I don't have time to work on my LinkedIn. I don't have time to learn a new skill. Do you get? I don't have time for a second job, if you want a second job. I don't have time to do anything. I didn't even have time to check up on my friends. And I used to have that particular issue over a period of time. And there's a technology I figured out. Apparently, it is everywhere, I believe so, but I figured it out based on the problem I had. And it's called time audit. What I decided to do was that for a month, I decided to record every time I spent. I put it up in an Excel sheet every single time. If I was on a call with somebody, I record how long I spent. If I ate food, I record how long. If I watch YouTube or on Instagram, I recorded, how long. If I was in a meeting, I recorded every amount I spent. This is what a time audit looks like, what I figured out at the end of the day after doing a time audit was that, one, I should spend about 8 hours on calls. Yes. Do you get? You know, the thing about time is that when time is moving, you don't know time is moving. Is after the end of the day, like, wait, so these are the things I actually wanted to achieve today, and I did not achieve them. If you are having difficulties in achieving your goals, I would advise you to do a time audit. If this is one thing that will get away from this particular class, is it takes a lot of discipline to do a time audit, right? But I advise you to do a time audit do it for like 2 weeks. Or you can even do it for your last week. This week that just every day, or you cannot think back as you move ahead. Every day, have a sheet like this, right? Activity, start time, end time, total hours, and comments. What I figured out was, how can I reduce my 8 hours a day meeting to about 4 hours? Do you get? That's when you start knowing that maybe there's something that you can delegate. Maybe there's something that should not even be calls. There can be voice notes. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from, right? You know. And you also figure out that wait, so I do like 3 hours every day on social media, right? If I'm doing 3 hours every day on social media, 3 times 7 is how many hours? 21 hours, right? If I do that for 2 weeks, that's like 42 hours of social media. Think about 42 hours of learning a particular skill. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Think about 42 hours of learning a particular skill. Think about 42 hours of reading a particular book. And talking about reading is out of what we are meant to talk about today. Reading is very, very important. Reading gives you exposure. You know, when you are in a place, you are in a community, do you get? The ability to communicate intelligently is very, very key. You know, when I went to camp, which is very, very interesting, what had happened is when you go to camp, you see that there are always different kinds of cliques, right? There are people that clique around different things, you know. And I was in a certain clique of people that were just extremely intelligent. Like, do you get, like, you know, like they were really, really smart, but so like, what's happening in this Kaduna state, all of those stuff, right? You know, but the only way you could have entered that clique, the only way all of us could have gathered together and become a clique was because, one, we all had the same level of exposure. Do you get? And when I'm talking about exposure, you don't need to go to New York to understand, to get exposure and maybe travel around the world. For Christ's sake, you have Google Earth. You should even know what is happening around the world. Do you get? Like, you can contribute intelligently to conversations. And what that has done for me over a period of time is that when people are starting new things, they just feel like, I want Tobi to be around. Do you get? I want you to jump on this idea with me. So it also opens you up to what? Opportunities. Right? All right. So one thing I want us to do quickly is do a time audit. Can you remember what you did with your week? Do you get where I'm coming from? With your last week, what are the specific things that you did with your last week? Do you get? What are the highlights of your last week? What were the things that you plan to achieve in the week, and did you achieve them? Because what happens many times is that we set plans for the year, and we forget that a year is broken down into what? Months. Months are broken down into what? Weeks. Weeks are broken down into... Days are broken down into what? Hours are broken down into what? And minutes are broken down into what? Seconds. So if you don't make use of your second, you start losing your what? Your minutes. If you don't make use of your minutes, you start losing your what? And that's it. So when you see people that are good in a specific skill set, or people that are where you want to be, right? Aside, in addition to favor and grace, they are just putting more hard work. That's it. They have decided to say that, okay, this night I should have used to watch Netflix. Do you get? I'm going to sit down to learn a particular skill, and I'm going to be good at it. And there's something I always tell people, and it can seem so ambitious, but I feel like it's something that all of us should take away from this particular conversation. Whatever you are doing, can you make a bold proclamation that I want to be the top 20 in Nigeria? Can you say that within a year, I want to be the top 20 communications person in Nigeria? Within a year, I want to be the top 20 customer expert in Nigeria. Like, I want to be the top 20. Do you get? Like, you set that particular goal that I want to be that top 20. Then after you are in the top 20 in Nigeria, you can now set a new goal that, okay, I want to be the top 100 in Africa. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Are you sure? Right, when you set that particular goal, right, you can now start breaking it down. But for you to start setting goals, you must first understand how you use your time. Because you see at times we set goals and you feel like automatically we just jump to it, and everything will just align. But guess what? As you grow older, and I'm just going to say it to you, as you grow older, you have less time. Because you are going to deal with colleagues, you are going to be going to work, you are going to deal with Lagos traffic, you are going to marry, you are going to have in-laws, you are going to have kids, you are going to be sitting on the board of different companies, you are going to have business. So don't think that a time is going to come where you are going to have more time. No. If you actually want to grow in life, people are going to demand more of your time, and you'd have to also give them that particular time. The question is, how well can you manage that time? And the best place to start with is what? A time audit. Audit your time. Once you audit your time, know what you would cut off. Do you get? Know what you delay. I'll give an example. I used to watch movie recap. Do you know what they call movie recap on YouTube? Movie recap. Those things are very short. But after a while, you start watching. And I noticed, I did 2 hours today. I've done 12 hours of movie recap in a month. Do you get? If I use 12 hours to invest in a skill or stuff, right, it will have changed my life. That kind of stuff. So that's one thing that we should look at, time audits. You can take a picture of this. When you do it on the first day, you kind of get tired because you're recording every single thing that you are doing. But do it. Just even do it for 1 week. Know what you spend your life on in a week. Because your time is your life. Know what you're actually spending your life on in a week. All right, let's move on quickly. Effective time management. How many of us deal with procrastination here? Be very honest. Procrastination. I'm speaking to the right audience. What have you done to overcome it? Procrastination. What have you done? What have you tried to overcome procrastination? Anybody wants to try?
So I know I've set deadlines. So I try to set deadlines and say I have to do this before the week runs out or before today runs out. So I think that just gives me that sense of urgency. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
I try to set clear goals. Like, I'll be like, today I want to do this thing for like 2 hours. Like something I'm trying to achieve, I work on it for like 2 hours.
So you notice that you set all of the goals and everything, and you still procrastinate. Why? It takes us back to the first thing I said. The greatest tool for productivity is what? Discipline. So why I say this is, we can talk about all of these creative strategies, and we'll talk about them, right? But if you miss these aspects and the place of discipline, do you get where I'm coming from? None of them will work. All right, so I want us to look at one quickly. The Eisenhower matrix. How many of you have heard about this? Eisenhower matrix, is just to help you prioritize, because many times one thing that can make us procrastinate is because we have other things that we are doing. It's not just out of sheer laziness. The Eisenhower matrix, allows you to just break your tasks into key things that you have to do now, what you have to do later, what you have to delegate, and what you should not even do at all. So, for example, if you look at the matrix, you have tasks such as tasks that you have deadlines and consequences. You have tasks that you can schedule. Maybe a specific task you don't have to even do today, or you can even do them in a month's time. You have tasks that you can delegate, and you have specific tasks that you can delete. It's not everything that you have to do. Most times when we try to do everything, it gets to choke up our agenda. Another thing is time tracking analysis. I've talked about it. As you know, the way businesses invest in data. Do you get? The way business invest in data, and all of those stuff. Invest in the data of your life. Do you get? Like, don't assume you know yourself. Do you get? you know yourself, right? But don't assume you know what you are spending your time on. That is why, again, you have to do that time tracking analysis. Manage emails and digital distractions. Manage emails and digital distractions. I know this is not the first time you are hearing it, but it's very, very important. If you would have to pull off social media for a while you are while you are working, while you have set your mind on a particular goal, do it. Do it. See, guys, I was speaking to somebody recently, and I was like, see, you have to cultivate Big Brother Africa. And she was like, how do I cultivate Big Brother Africa? I'm like, when you think about it, if you watch Big Brother like 4 hours daily, right? In a week, that's 4 times 7. What's the mathematics? 28 times 4. What? 102 hours. You see, after 102 hours, you now come and say, God, you're not doing anything for me. Who do you want to blame? No, but think about it. If you spend 102 hours to develop your skills, to invest in your own skill, do you know how things will be different? Do you know that, when Leme was talking about applying for a job and you don't have a certain skill, by then, when you're applying for that particular job, you know what Excel is in that context. You know what Power BI is in that context. Again, breaking it down, these things, goals are not just big. Goals are results of tiny bits of activities and events that you have intentionally designed to be part of your life. It's at the end of the day that people will look back, and call this thing a big achievement. All right. Yes, there's something I want us to look at quickly, and the power of goals, importance of goal setting and for personal and professional development. When you are setting a goal, ensure it is clear and it is focused. Number 2, goals obviously motivate, and drive commitment. Goals allow you to monitor your progress, where you are coming from, do you get, and where you are going to. Then goals allow you to make informed decision making. Informed decision making. The interesting thing about working with management, people that are in management, that are CEOs, right? People have started planning their year from this year. There are some people that you cannot have a meeting with them in February or March again. Do you get? Because they have planned their year from this specific year. That's the essence of what goal setting. It helps you plan your life. Have this ever happened to you where you plan a meeting with somebody, then the day of the meeting you now remember that you had something to do? Do you get? Or you tell somebody, oh, I'm coming for this party, I'm coming for this particular event. On that day, you now remember that you have work to do. How come you never knew? Because you did not plan accordingly, right? So, how do you plan goals? Again, these are things that you use in businesses, but I feel like there are things that you can also use in your life. The best investment you can make if you don't have like 10 million or 20 million naira to do investments, which the money is even small now in this economy, the best investment you can do for yourself is to invest in yourself. Like, I was speaking to somebody recently, and the person said, okay, I have this amount of money, and what investment can I do? I was like, see, if you have this amount of money, you have like 1 million naira, and you want to do safe investment, maximum is going to give you is what? 20%. Right? Okay, let's say it's going to give you best 30% per annum. 30% of 1 million naira is how much? 300K. That's 1.3. So when you think about it, right, if you divide that 300K by 12, that's how much you're making monthly. By the time your money is ripe to collect, maybe inflation should have increased. Do you get? Maybe inflation is about 20%, maybe double digits or so. At the end of the day, you're just even making 100K. But if you spend that money and invest in a skill, do you get? And maybe your salary was 100,000 naira, and you invest in a skill and you're good, do you get? At least you can move from maybe 100,000 naira to 300,000 naira. Do you get? And that means that 300,000 naira now, maybe after 6 months of learning, you are now earning 300. What I'm trying to say is, at a certain level of our life, the best investment that we can actually make is in ourselves. And it's not just about investing money. investing strategies, investing tactics that can help us grow. So looking at the SMART framework, your goals must be very, very specific. And we're going to set goals quickly in this class. They must be very, very specific. They must be measurable. They must be measurable. They must be attainable. Don't just set goals that you cannot attain. They must be relevant and they must be timely. I tell the guys in my office that you cannot say that you are delegating a task or you are doing something if you don't have a due date. If somebody tells you that I'm going to do something for you, right, they must give you what? A timeline. It is not yet a task. It is not yet a goal. It is not yet an activity if it doesn't have what? A timeline. It must have what? Timestamp. It's that timestamp that drives what time you are going to invest in it. So I want us to look at this thing quickly, and I want us to set goals. I'm going to give us 5 minutes to think about it. From what Lemuel has said and what I'm saying now, I want you to identify one thing that you want to achieve in the next 3 months. That's maybe by the ending of the year. Yes, you're going to do it now. One thing that you want to achieve, by December, around your career, around your business, around the work of your hands, and all of those stuff, right? One thing that you want to achieve. And I want us to set that goal. I also need a volunteer who wants to volunteer so that we can actually set their goals together. Because why I also want us to do it is, I want us to see the benefit of breaking down a goal into tiny bits. Do you get? Into tiny bits. The thing about goals is, at times you set a goal and it's so big and I feel like I've not done anything. Do you get? And then you start feeling what? Discouraged. But there's a way that you can break your goal into tiny bits so that every step you take motivates you. Every step you take refines you. Right? It's just like when you want to start gymming or you want to start maybe running and all of those stuff. So you can start with walking. Maybe you walk 1 km today. The next day you walk like, maybe for that first week you walk 1 km. And it motivates you like, oh, I've walked 1 km, right? The second week you do 2 km. The third week you do 3 km. The fourth week you now run 1 km. Do you get? And all of those. So before you know, you are measuring and you are growing. So who has a goal that we can touch on with? What do you want to achieve by December? Okay, come up now. Let's do it together. So we'll break our goals together and just take this as a classic example for yourself too. So what is your goal?
To run a clothing line for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers.
To run a clothing line for pregnant
and breastfeeding mother.
Breastfeeding mother, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's assume by December. So for us to do that, a clothing line for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers, right? What do we need to do? Market survey, sort out material. What else again? She needs to get a tailor. What did you say? She needs a business proposal. She needs branding. She needs marketing. What else? Okay, what should she start with first? Market survey. Right. What else again? Business plan. Not the fabrics. Yeah, market survey. You see that by December, our should not just come and say, okay, do you get? Everything will just work out. They just, transformers now. They just come together and boom, business have started. What? Autobots assemble. So, just because we cannot type it directly here, what we'll do in this particular case is we'll break it down to the littlest minute detail. So, Mercy is a communications expert, right? You do customer service, you do data and all of those stuff. So you break it down to, okay, activity. Under market survey, for example, you break it down and feel like, okay, who are the people doing similar business in Nigeria? Check for people or businesses doing something similar in Nigeria. You break it down into what should be my business name? Do you get? My brand and my identity. Do you understand? You talk about fabrics. So you break all of those things down into details. Your list can be very, very long. In fact, The longer your list, the better. Because if your list is very, very short, what is happening is that you are putting things together. And when you put things together, right, you might not achieve something because you have put them together. So you break them down into tiny, tiny, tiny lists. Once you break them down into activities and line items, you start thinking them. Once you start thinking all of these things, you start feeling motivated that I'm getting close to my goals. So now I have a business name. Do you get? Somebody has designed a brand color for me. I've seen what competitors are doing. I'm speaking to somebody concerning fabrics. I'm setting up my social media. Do you get? Small Business Sunday is coming. I have a tailor. Before you know, right, all of this by December becomes a big thing. But guess what? They were just what? Tiny, little steps. That's how to set a goal. Yes, there's the whole aspect of project planning and all of those stuff. But just write things down. Don't assume that they're in your head. I know it looks so simple that they're in your head. But just really write them down and tick them. And aside from writing them down, have due dates. So doing the market research, when do I want to actually do it? By what time should I give a feedback? So activity, do market research, due date, August 28th. Status, as you can see, either done, ongoing, and not done. If you don't meet your due date, put not done. If it was not done, add a comment. This is why it was not what? It was not done. Are we all together in this? Are we sure? Are we sure? Thank you, Ara. God bless you. Another classic example is you want to maybe move career. You want to start something new, right? You break it down. Breaking it down from top of my head is, what are the people doing something similar, right? What courses do I need to take? What free courses can I? So number one, what are the people doing something similar? Number two, what courses do I need to take? What are the free courses I have to take? What are the paid courses I have to take? What communities can I connect to? Do you get? After that, you also create a plan. For example, I have a training calendar. Now, if you notice all of these things I'm saying, I want you to take yourself as a business. Don't, you know the way businesses invest in their structure? Invest in your own personal life as a structure. So I have my training calendar. I have hours of the days of the week that I must read and I must do my training. I don't just assume that any time go just work now. When I just feel like I just, read. No. You talking about learning, you create a training calendar, 2 hours, maybe every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My phone is going to be off because I'm going to be learning this particular stuff, right? If you list all of those things down, other things that you can add is what? Maybe attend industry events and all of those stuff. Before you know, over a period of time, once you start ticking all of those things, everything is connecting and you're achieving your goal. Are we making sense? Now, all of this is usually fun. When we are talking about it, it seems so exciting. And, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do this thing, and all of those stuff. But guys, if there's one thing again that you should live here with is discipline. When you're a kid, people as kids, they'll force you to, in primary school now, read. You want to watch Power Rangers, for those of you that met Power Rangers and all of those stuff, right? But when you're an adult, your learning and your development is dependent on you. Even your health and all of those stuff. I'm just going to stop here for now so that next speaker can come in. So do we have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, any observation? Yeah, basically. Why are you smiling? Yeah. So I would like to know what are your goals? What goals are you setting for yourself generally? You might not be specific, but in your areas, just an overview. What are the goals that you want to set for yourself? I've read your goal, right? So who hold you accountable for it? Is that a deal? Who is going to be our accountability partner? That's your accountability partner. Okay, please. Yes. I think it's recorded. It's recorded. You should do
Okay.
it.
So what I wanted to recommend was, since we are not like 1 million
Mm-hmm.
in year, we can just have the drive group for this particular
I agree.
set. And then everybody will list out their goals on the group. And then we have the task sheet. So the task sheet is not going to be individual. It's not going to be the drive task, time management sheet. Everybody put your name, your goal, your timeline, and all. And then we'll stay accountable for everybody. So if like the minimum earning right here is maybe 50,000, we'll now have a collective goal as a group that the person earning the least should be earning 200,000 by December. That way, we have something. And then if you are not owning up, maybe month by month, we can share bodies. I'm your body for this month. I'm your body for this. That way, I think we'll be able to implement these things and have the results better.
I believe that's a great idea. Are we all agreeing to that?
Sorry,
So, please go ahead.
we promise you guys that this event is going to be life-changing. So Lemuel and Tobi are in charge of facilitation. I'm going to create a group chat. We're going to all be in the group chat.
So guys, what Lemuel is saying, what I'm saying, what Nifemi is going to say, whatever is going to say, how will, if you just literally set your mind to this thing, you'll see the transformation. Like again, like as I mentioned earlier, right? You don't know when you are growing tall, or when you are even getting fat, or when you are slimming down. It's when people come and see you after a period of time, like, what's happening now? Do you get? So the accountability group that is going to be set up, write your goals there. But I want to hear it. I still want to hear what people have in mind. Obviously, from sitting here, you have ideas that are coming to mind, right? And I want to hear it. So I'll start from, I've gotten I'll start from you.
Your goals.
My goals? Okay. My goal currently, aside the customer care, is to be the #1 brand in Nigeria and globally when it comes to pap, which is Ogi making. Yeah, that's my goal.
Were you not at small business on the last month?
Thank you, Mercy.
So my major goal now is basically career-wise. So I want to get like a international job for like my role. So currently what I do is information security, cyber security. So I want to get like my first international role. So yeah. Is that?
Okay, for me, I want to like learn I want to go into the field of makeup. So I'm trying to like take courses online first, and then before I like save up money to do it practically.
Okay, for me, I actually want to do data analysis. I've actually been like talking about data analysis since last year. I did one course. I just did that course, finished, just dumped it one corner, and this year I came back again. I saw an opportunity on one platform, and I applied for the course. So I started the course, and within some time, I just started dragging my feet. So now I want to like pick up again and make some improvements so that I can transition properly into data analytics.
Okay, so my goal is to meet Pastor Tobi afterwards, because apparently I didn't know that we were in similar field, so I could ask him questions. But I'm actually trying to apply for masters in Unilag, so that's one of the goals. So when she was talking about, what's it called? Improving yourself and all, I just remembered, I'm like, hey God, admission is ending this month, and I'm supposed to have that done, and also to get more courses done in advertising, because that's something that I really, really love and I want to venture more into. So yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing, everyone, and I pray for the best as you go on this journey. And as she said, Lemuel said, we really excited and hope, against all hope that in 6 months' time, we're in a certain place in what we are doing, right? And we hold ourselves accountable. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Good. Yeah. Let me put it back. So, yeah. So on this QR code, you can scan and get access to this, or just go through the link, Grow by Tobi. I know, right? Yeah. Why you procrastinate even when it feels bad? How to enter the flow state. That's more about focus work. 7 habits of highly effective people. You can get the summary there. Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog. They're really great. What? Yeah. 12-week year. You can also add that. What we're also going to do is we're just going to create like a platform where you can access many resources that would help you grow, and obviously pair you up with people too. Right. The last two, Mercy, you can read it, is on comms. Right.